to Occultist Radio. It's radio for the higher self. With your hosts, Vicki Adams and Jimmy Darling. Welcome to another week of Occultist Radio.
Hello.
Hello. It's a really special week too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it sure is.
I know you're excited tonight, Vicky.
I am.
You are. I am too. We've got the Voodoo Queen. What everybody refers to as the Voodoo Queen. We have Sally Ann Glassman. How exciting is that?
Very.
I know you're very excited. Sally, you're on the line with us, aren't you?
I am. I'm here.
You are an initiated voodoo priestess.
Yes, I am. I was initiated in Port-au-Prince, Haiti in '95.
You're just one of a handful.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, there are people from around the world lately, I believe, being drawn into voodoo and answering the calling and exploring those mysteries. I think more and more voodoo is crossing cultural and racial lines, and people are discovering how beautiful it is.
And it seems like there is a heck of a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Like in the
I've heard statistics that worldwide 50 million people practice voodoo in one form or another. I have no idea how they get those statistics, but
right.
that's what they say.
Oh, wow. I haven't actually heard those numbers.
Mm-hmm.
That is actually wonderful, because Vicki and I actually do we actually practice voodoo ourselves.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we studied with, I don't know if you heard of him, he passed a while back, Mr. Benin.
No.
Yeah, I think he was mainly known in LA anyway.
Yeah, you do so much. I mean, you really do, and you've been on so many TV shows, and you're really getting the word.
And you're really active in Louisiana, New Orleans. With your storm prayers, your hurricane prayers. I noticed on your Facebook when I took a quick glance.
Yeah, we just did our hurricane ceremony, and
right.
It's interesting that the storm that was threatening the Gulf just dissipated, and
yes.
We've been very active doing public ceremonies to apologize to the waters for the oil spill, and I'm finding it pretty interesting that they're having trouble finding the oil right now, and there's still little bits of it in the water, but they sure can't find those billions of gallons, and it reminds me of an experience I had when I had a tumor, and I did some meditative and healing work and caused the tumor to disappear in 4 days, and the doctors just simply couldn't handle it, and were searching for the tumor and absolutely couldn't believe that it was possible to make it dissipate. And I think for all of us, we did an incredibly beautiful ceremony on the river, and people around the world joined in, and all up and down the river. There were people on the Ganges in India, and the Nile in Egypt, and the Neva River in St. Petersburg, Russia, and people in the headwaters and of the Mississippi, and just simply all over the world, South Africa and Australia and Sweden and Canada and Mexico, and you could feel it. And nature was there in on it with us. The sky was magnificent, and it absolutely poured down on us the first few minutes of the event, so that we were definitely soaking in her as we did the ceremony. And I have to wonder if the tumor didn't dissipate. I'm choosing to look at it that way now. It's very encouraging.
Yes, it is. I had the honor of seeing you in Australia. I met you really briefly. It was way back in 95, 96.
Yes.
When you introduced the Loas to Australia. I think that's the way you worded it. Like a formal thing.
Well, that's a little audacious of me.
Well, actually, it wasn't.
One thing I discovered in Australia, the land is so old.
Yes.
And the ancestors are so clearly there.
Well,
think I introduced Loa to Australia, but maybe there were introductions made.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You're really gracious and humble about it, put it that way, And everyone was really thrilled that you were there and really astounded with what you presented to us. You brought your flags, your drapos, and you conducted a ceremony for us. It was really beautiful, and I was just getting into voodoo at the time. It was like I was really, really new, so you really opened my eyes.
Oh, wonderful!
It was beautiful. It was wonderful.
And again, I really can't claim any involvement with any of that. But the Loa certainly graced my life, and going to Haiti and being exposed to the sequin arts and the beautiful music and songs and rhythms and dances, and just the extraordinary resilience and strength of the people whose ancestors created voodoo. And it's not anything on my part. It's just what it is. It's gorgeous, and the invisible world that it recognizes is so much more vast and more beautiful and more full of potential than the visible world that we limit ourselves to. So it's not surprising that having an experience of voodoo would crash open the gates.
Oh, absolutely.
But I certainly don't claim any ownership over any of that.
Like I said, you were awesome as a presenter, a portal for us, to catch a glimpse at the time of what it was about and be involved in it, even if it was as a spectator. I know some people actively. I think there was some mountings. I was kind of a little dubious about some of the people because I think some people were a little hysterical. But
oh well.
Oh well. But despite that, I mean, that's nothing. I mean, it was just beautiful, and just to see how happy and enthralled people were with it was really, something.
Yeah. And I have a very dear friend in Melbourne who set that all up, Carrie Simpson, who's a beautiful singer and beautiful person. Right. But I first met her in New Orleans. I was a bartender at the time, and she walked into the bar asking if I knew of anybody that did Veve tattoos. Now, Veves are the ritual drawings in voodoo, and I happen to do tattoos, and I happen to do only Veve tattoos. And so this was my introduction to this person.
Oh, wow.
So it was, as a matter of fact, yes, I do know someone, and we became dear friends, and we still are to this day. And
isn't that amazing?
If anybody really opened the doors and made the intros, it was her.
Yeah. I was under the impression it was via OTO or something, but I guess
there were some OTO people in Sydney that helped bring us over.
Okay. I thought maybe my memory was going. No, but it was like I said, it was like one of the most pivotal moments, in my life. Seriously, it really, I knew what spoke to me.
Voodoo, I think, is that it is just so real.
Yeah.
And when I was in Haiti, that blew me away. And I still struggle with people who are limited to the quote-unquote real world. That very difficult to get across to people that there are things of great value that cannot be measured and can't be measured in monetary terms. And, of course, in the U.S., that's all we're about. And so when I went to Haiti, to a place where people have nothing, there's serious poverty there at an extreme level that we can't comprehend.
Right.
And yet they're so spiritually rich and so profoundly stable emotionally and psychologically and spiritually. And to go through these ceremonies that are not about theory, they're about experience. And when you're in there going through the experience, you have a sense of being that is missing in everyday life, and certainly very, very much missing in American society.
Right.
So I think people are really having to look in new places and in new parts of their psyches and their brains for what matters and what gives them a sense of stability in life, because everything else is crumbling.
Right. A lot of people have a really great misunderstanding of...
And one of the examples is today. Today, I told somebody came in and asked what was the radio station tonight, and I said, "Oh well, we got Sally Ann Glassman, and it's voodoo." And the woman goes, "Oh, I don't do black magic."
Yeah, so a lot of people, as an example, that's a prime example. A lot of people have a huge misunderstanding of what voodoo is, and mainly it's because of the media, movies and such. Can you give our listeners some clarity, into what voodoo really is about?
Sure, and I would say it goes back farther than Hollywood.
Right.
That the Spanish Inquisition simply took all the sensationalized and just distorted images that they used to vilify the Jews and applied it to Afro-Caribbeans, and the stuff stuck. I think that fundamentally, as I was saying, voodoo recognizes an invisible world of great power, and that is more vast and more meaningful and more beautiful than the visible world. And you can imagine that if you were a slave owner intent on keeping a people under subjugation, that ability to reach into this invisible power would be pretty terrifying. And if you were a slave and you had access to this realm of spiritual power, that would be empowering and liberating. So it's understandable that it got this bad rep and became associated with black magic and great evil. And I think it's a human tendency to disown our own responsibility and to not look at ourselves and instead to vilify the other. I'm sure that many of the people that indulged in the institution of slavery were basically decent people and didn't think of themselves as indulging in evil, and yet which is the more evil? So rather than say to oneself, I'm doing a terrible thing and an inexcusable thing and it's wrong and it's bad and it's causing suffering and evil in the world, instead we just have to find a way to make the other person evil. We do it all the time when we try to save another person instead of looking at our own problems.
Right.
But to go on from there are all sorts of misconceptions that voodoo, first of all, is evil and satanic, and all the things that the Inquisition said about Jews, that they sacrifice and eat children and have depraved orgies and all that stuff. That's simply not true.
And then there's the voodoo dolls.
Most people believe that voodoo is all about spellcraft and hexing. There really is no such thing as a voodoo doll, for instance. People simply do not stick pins into dolls and they can do it. They might have a doll on an altar, but it represents one of the spirits in the same way that a statue of a Catholic saint would be on a Catholic altar. Voodoo recognizes a supreme deity called Bon Dieu, or good God, but that God is so vast and so abstract that humans just can't relate. So in between God and humanity are myriad intermediary ancestral spirits called the Loa collectively. And these spirits, much like saints, not only act as intermediaries, but they are called on to intercede and to supply favors and to give guidance and a sense of meaning in life. Unlike the saints, they're a little more than that. They are forces of nature as well as archetypal principles. And so Erzulie Freire de Dolme might be the spirit of love and beauty and the principle of unattainable perfection in life. And she's also fresh water. So all the air that we breathe is the Loa, the water that we bathe in is spirit, the ground that we walk upon is spirit, and everything in the universe is part of God's energy or life force called Ashe, and we're all contained within the soul of the world. And it's a very animated and alive religion. I guess that's the first misconception. It's a religion. a religion like any other. It's a philosophy and a way of life, and it involves absolutely breathtaking dance and rhythm and art forms and ritual forms, and very gracious and really elegant practice. And there's no way that I can convince people that it is not evil and it's not going to jeopardize their immortal soul unless they will actually go through a ceremony and recognize and experience the blessing of it. So that's the reason that I do so much public ceremony.
Right.
And it's a real way for people to get past the fear and experience the beauty of it.
Right.
Oh, that is such an excellent way to.
Yeah.
Sally, when did you find that voodoo called you? Where was your head? Where were you?
Well, I have very little excuse for myself. I'm from Maine, and I'm Jewish, and I was very definitely born with the spirit, and that's just how I saw things from as far back as I can remember.
Right.
I literally didn't see the world the way I discovered most people do. I don't see things as solid forms. I see them as waves of energy.
Right.
Light, you could say. I just don't see things as solid. I see the solid surface of things, and it looks a little diaphanous to me.
Right.
And it took me a long time to realize that, for instance, I was getting more information than people were giving me.
Right.
And that I was picking up other people's moods. And I finally was about 13 when I started to realize that and realized that people didn't necessarily know what I was talking about. I also noticed that adults were a little taken aback by me. And I decided that it was invasive and I needed to do something to turn that on and off. So I started studying tarot and crystal balls and learned how to agree to it and when to put it aside, and learned, I guess, how to translate for others how I saw things. And in 76, I guess it was, I was living in Kennebunkport, Maine, in my cousin's unheated barn, and it was October 1st and 20 degrees, and my brother called and said he had gotten a job teaching at Tulane in New Orleans, and something in my mind just thought that voodoo and jazz would be really interesting. Up until then, I had the same fears that everybody else has. I thought voodoo was really evil, and that I would be jeopardizing my immortal soul to even say the word.
Right.
And I just got on the plane the next day, and indeed, voodoo and jazz were really interesting the next day. And for many years, just kind of studied. I'd been involved in an international fraternal ceremonial magic group, and I'd done yoga all my life since I was 16, and it just all started to finally come together for me. And when I did the New Orleans Voodoo Tarot, I discovered that I was a bartender, and I discovered that the majority of my customers were initiated priests and priestess, either in Korea or in voodoo, and I then opened a shop, the Island of Salvation Botanica, in my neighborhood, and suddenly the doors opened up for me to go to Haiti and initiate. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. It never occurred to me to say no, and I was so blessed. I have a godfather, I guess you could say, in Haiti, a patron, Jacques Bartoli, who is the center pole for Haitian-American relations, I must say. Most generous person I've ever known.
Oh, wow.
And he introduced me to my papa in voodoo, Edgar Jean-Louis, who is just such a magnificent old man and such a noble being. And he became my papa and has remained so. He initiated me, and he's come to New Orleans to do initiations, and I've gone there many times to bring people to initiate. And following the earthquake in Haiti, he's in his 80s now and has suffered several strokes last year. And so when the earthquake happened, I went bananas trying to get him out of Haiti, and finally was able to bring him to my home, and he stayed with us for several months and until his eldest child died in Port-au-Prince, and the family insisted that he go back. So back he went, and I plan to go to Haiti in the next few months to go and visit him and check up on him.
Right.
But it was definitely a life-changing experience, and one that made me feel, immeasurably richer.
Right. It's
That is something.
That's really profound. Yeah.
But speaking of, old prejudices are hard to break.
Right.
I've been working since Katrina to build a massive healing center here in New Orleans called the New Orleans Healing Center. And I've been working like a dog for 5 years now.
Right.
And in the course of those 5 years, the group that has pulled together to try to make this happen has, every couple of months, it becomes a big issue that I'm involved with voodoo, and people become terrified that this is going to jeopardize the whole project, and periodically the newspaper will write some sordid article poking fun at it, and I've tried very hard to look at it always as an opportunity to educate, which it has been, and each time it comes up, even though it's sort of heart-wrenching and sickening, it has been an opportunity to really open the doors some more. I was told at the beginning of this effort that I would need to meet with pastors and preachers and explain to them why this wasn't evil, because they said nobody would ever have anything to do with the healing center because of me and because of my association with voodoo. And it just so happened that my Papa Edgar was here visiting me at the time, and I met with some of the pastors and preachers, and the first word out of their mouth was, "You need to understand, our religion teaches the opposite of what you do." I was taken a little aback and translated for Edgar, who speaks only Creole, and he thought about it for a very long time. They went on to say, "We don't need a healing center. That's what our church does. We heal people. That's what they come to us for. What do we need you for?"
Right.
And my partner at the time just immediately started talking about economic development, and they were very interested in that. And about 15 minutes later, Edgar leaned forward, and you have to kind of imagine him. He's about 7 feet tall. He's very thin, very dark, has chiseled cheekbones and the most glittery eyes on earth, and a voice that shakes the earth. It sounds like a didgeridoo. And he leaned over and he said to me, "You tell them I'm a priest, just like they're a priest. My father was a priest. His father was a priest. And you tell them the God of Africa is the God of us all." So I translated that for them, and I watched their minds do a complete 360-degree turnaround, and they were just dumbfounded and realized that they had turned their backs on their own heritage and their own strengths and gifts. And at the end of the conversation, they leaned over and said to me, "You keep doing what you're doing, and we'll put together a group of ministers that are able to hear what you're saying. This is important. And by the way, there's some people in our congregation that are sick, and, we've been praying, but you know how good that does. Could you possibly bring them some healing?" So that was the end of the discussion.
Right.
And it was, 45 minutes to turn their world around. And it hasn't been a problem since then. We have an interfaith spiritual space in the Healing Center, and we've had meetings that have gathered together over 60 interfaith and spiritual leaders representing 18 different religions. And I really thought we were going to start World War III, and instead everyone was incredibly positive and progressive thinking, and everyone was focused on how can we make the world better, how can we work together and make this happen. It was amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've noticed that in the process of putting this healing center together, we've all had to do an awful lot of healing.
Right.
And most importantly, all these different polarized communities have discovered that we have a common denominator, that we're all children of spirit and we all want to be healthy. And so the police have worked together with the artists and the businessmen and the spiritualists and the blacks, the whites, Spanish, Asians, rich, poor, and we finally even got the government on board. We got the feds to work together with the state and the city.
Amazing.
So it's finally happening. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I totally attribute it to the amazing power of voodoo.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
A powerful force.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people get in rituals. There's people who get ridden or mounted. That they become horses, and a lot of people, they don't understand that. That's where I think that's where the big freak out comes. Like, I don't want to be possessed.
Yeah. The mountain.
Yeah, and I think people have that image of Linda Blair's head spinning around and spewing, and they're thinking about demonic possession. My theory is that our everyday identity has possession over us, and I find that very frightening.
Right.
And, I wish I could get out of my set way of seeing things more often. I find that instead of it being a sort of routing out of our identity, or a shortening or a clamping down on our being, that instead it's really an expansion, and that I get to go beyond my own limitations and the limitations of my identity into something much greater than myself. And each time, even though you don't have any memory of what you said or done, or what the spirit has said or done, that I find that there's a residual sense of awe in the physical body, and that you can tell that your electromagnetic frequency is adjusted.
Right.
And over time, if one time you've been Erzulie and the whole world is being seen through rose-colored glasses, and the next time you're Ogu and the whole world is a battlefield, and after many dips into these very specified views of reality, you realize that your way of seeing things is just an interpretation. It isn't how it is. That you could maybe open up your mind a little and get over all that. And it's also, I think, tremendously healthy that voodoo doesn't judge any of these spirits. Some are turbulent, some are extremely big and powerful, fiery. Some are very gentle, elegant, quiet, cool, but they're all aspects of the divine. And so you stop trying to route out any part of yourself or decide that this part of me is okay, but that part is not, so I'm going to get rid of it. And instead of trying to suppress who you are, you recognize that it's all sacred, and that we as human beings are able to balance all these different elements out so that they don't override us and instead just become enhancing elements of our being.
Wow.
Very powerful, healing stuff.
Yeah.
It is. And I actually, somebody on the board said an open mind does not equal a hole in the head.
Hole in the head?
Yeah. Kind of like because some people they can't get their heads around certain things. They'd rather shoot themselves.
Well, and of course, not everybody wants to heal.
Right.
And not everybody wants to be all right, and not everybody wants the world to heal. So you can't force that on everybody, and I certainly don't think that voodoo is for everyone.
But if anyone was, that now brings up a good point, because a lot of people say that voodoo is not for everyone, but they use it in a way to say, well, you can't do it because you're Hispanic, or you can't do it because you're white.
Yeah.
And from what we were taught was, voodoo is for everyone.
Yeah.
That goes to it if it calls to them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, the important thing about voodoo is it is ancestral, and we all have ancestors.
Exactly.
And we can argue the points forever.
Yes.
But underneath the skin and under the bone, we're all the same, and we're all spirit. We even know this from quantum physics. or energy. And sorry, that's my dog. And nobody owns that. We can all try to put identifiers around it and say, that's a guy thing or a girl thing or a black thing or a white thing. And in the meantime, spirit's flowing all through and around and under and in, and it's bigger than that. And it is before all those identifiers. It's beyond that.
Yeah, that was beautifully explained.
I think we all recognize the Loa, the spirits in voodoo, because they were once people.
Exactly.
And they speak to our humanity. And we recognize them, we know them, they welcome us. And my Papa Edgar has taken a lot of criticism for initiating me because I am a white Jew from the United States. And his attitude is, if the Loa have picked somebody, who am I to tell them no?
Exactly.
they brought this person to me, and they choose to ride her, and who am I to say no?
Yeah, that's what our Mr. Benin used to say.
Mr. Benin got a rash.
A lot of flack because of us.
Yeah.
Two white girls.
Yeah.
And he was so revered by so many people that they were quite possessive of him. And to have him take to two. He had a store actually a block from our store in Hollywood.
But our Baba was got criticized heavily.
Yeah, for taking us. And but they, like your Baba said, who are they to say, that it's not to be, It and it feels like such a warm embrace, dealing with the Loa,
Absolutely. And I understand the issues about cultural appropriation.
Right, yeah.
And I certainly respect that. But I think that it is absolutely a sign of respect to want to practice these traditions. And I do think that the Loa choose who they will.
Yeah, exactly.
I've taken also a tremendous amount of flack for innovating within the voodoo traditions, that I don't sacrifice animals, for instance, because I don't live in Haiti. And I don't eat meat. And so I try to think of things that energetically mean the same thing to me.
Yeah.
And I've often suggested to American practitioners who are screaming at me for not sacrificing animals,
I know.
How about you burn some money instead? How about you sacrifice some money?
That's exactly what our Baba told us.
Yeah, exactly.
That is exactly what he told us. He said, you do not have to do the animals.
Yeah, it's a huge bone of contention, and they look at you like, well, then you are not a true practitioner then, it's like, it's ridiculous.
We have a question for you from Barbie.
Yeah.
She wants to know, how do you know if a spirit has chosen you?
Well, I think it's pretty unmistakable. You find, there's many different ways that they can show you, and it might start in dreams. You might be seeing a character in your dreams that's looking like Erzulie or acting like Erzulie, or has a message for you, or is telling you that there's something that you need to do. Or you might just find yourself attracted. Maybe you just have to be at the beach, and when you go to the beach, you're kind of mesmerized, and you hear singing in the water, and maybe that's Lasserin talking to you, or maybe you just, like myself, I had no idea that I was working with Ogu, and yet there I was doing public ceremonies in the middle of the street to fight crime and calling on Ogu at the crossroads, and it just never occurred to me because I was dense. Didn't see it. And there's a million different ways that it manifests into your life. You might have a person in a crowd just walk up to you and they just trigger something in you. You know this isn't just a regular person, that something has been communicated on an energetic level. And you might just get intuitions and messages from the world around you. It doesn't become, I guess, absolute, you could say, until a person goes through the Couché initiation, at which point the Loa are sort of seated in your mind, seated in your head.
Yep.
There's also ways that if you're in a ceremony and the first spirit that ever possesses you, or the one that you can handle most easily, the one that resonates with you most closely, those are all indications.
Now, we were reading on your bio.
Oh, yeah, about you also... thank you for explaining that, too,
yes.
By the way. Sorry, we're so... I think we're losing track. We're just becoming really mesmerized by what you're saying.
That's nice.
I could listen to you for hours, seriously.
Oh, same here.
Yeah. Yeah. We were reading how you conduct yearly rituals there in New Orleans on St. John's Eve on Bayou St. John. Can you tell us a little, what it's for and what the, what kind of, what do they entail? You did entire drumming ceremonies and such, like.
Yeah, we do several public ceremonies throughout the year, and we do them annually. It's sort of developing into our sacred calendar. But St. John's Eve has always been very important in New Orleans voodoo practice. Marie Laveau used to hold very intense ceremonies out on Bayou St. John here in New Orleans.
Right.
On that night, it traditionally celebrates the birth of John the Baptist, unlike most saint holidays that celebrate the day that they die. And John the Baptist, of course, was the one who came before and opened the way. He baptized Jesus. And it falls on Midsummer Night, and the bonfires of Midsummer Night became the bonfires of St. John's Eve. And when Marie Laveau held ceremonies, apparently tens of thousands of people attended. And it was all by word of mouth. In fact, she would distract the media by giving them wrong locations, and people in the know somehow could figure out where to go. And the next day, the newspaper would publish really lurid descriptions of the events and name people by name and try to humiliate and embarrass, scandalize people.
Yeah.
They still do that.
Yes.
We still have really derogatory articles written.
Oh, no.
The articles. But we do go out on Bayou St. John, and we hold what's called a head washing or a lave-tete. And hundreds of people come, and we dedicate the ceremony to Marie Laveau. And we do the usual drumming and singing and dancing and invocations to Marie Laveau, but we also wash people's heads. And head washings are traditionally done at the beginning of a ceremony, of a initiation ceremony, but they can also be done anytime when a person needs to cool or clear their head or refresh themselves. It's remarkable, very simple ceremony of anointing the head. It's a kind of voodoo baptism, and so it sort of corresponds to the whole idea of John the Baptist. And you just put this goop on your head and say some prayers, and the next morning you take it into your dreams that night, and the next morning you wake up feeling refreshed and renewed and cleared and clean, and it's really lovely. So we do that every St. John's Eve, and St. John's Day we do it again at a beautiful little boutique hotel in New Orleans called the International House Hotel, and they let us muck up their lobby. They have a bar right there called the Loa Bar, and they've been very, very supportive and celebrate New Orleans cultural traditions. It's been really wonderful. We do a hurricane ceremony every July. I think we'll probably do our river ceremony every year now because it was so beautiful and powerful. And we do a massive Day of the Dead celebration on November 1st. And at the Healing Center we have a festival on Halloween Eve called En Bas de l'Eau that's really fabulous and fantastic and kind of showcases New Orleans music and art and performance and dance and just the culture of New Orleans. And it's called En Bas de l'Eau, which means from beneath the waters, and references what we've gone through with Katrina, as well as the idea of the soul and the Loa rising from the waters of return. And Christmas Eve, we do a big ceremony for all the Petro, the fiery revolutionary spirits, and do flaming baths and bonfires, make all our magic stuff. It's really fun. So throughout the year, we have these annual celebrations and times when we just really commemorate the passage of time and the meaning of time.
Okay, we have several questions.
Yeah.
I mean, you are just sparking the board up, you're sparking us up. Now I have a question for you. If somebody can't find, this one's from me, if somebody cannot find a someone that can actually clear their head and do that head blessing form, because a lot of people, they really do need it. Is there a way to do it themselves?
Well, actually, there are ways to consecrate yourself, and it can be as simple as taking a bath, maybe in bath salts, and anointing yourself. And the idea is that you're anointing your head, your own being, your psyche, in the same way that you would anoint an altar, and recognizing the sacredness of yourself, and that you are a container of pure spirit. So, if you think that if you had an altar, you would keep that altar clean. It's the same idea about yourself. I have a book called Voodoo Visions, and I do give instructions for how a person who is isolated and unable to practice in a community, how they can begin to approach spirit on their own. And it does include a way to do your own benediction and to do your own dedication and your own head washing and things like that, just
right.
How you can work with the spirit. Voodoo is very much about community and about service to the spirit, because these are not gods, they are actually spirits. We don't worship, we serve. And it is extremely possible to take on an attitude of service and respect and honor in every minute and moment of your life. Voodoo is not only practiced at ceremonies. It's an ongoing 24/7 way of looking at the world.
Well, that shot down one of the questions, but I want you to really make it clear. Somebody asked, a good book, and do you have a book? And we've typed in that you do. It's called Voodoo Visions. It can be given you can get it at fayvoodoo.com. Yes.
My website is called www.fayvoodoo, F as in feather, EYVODOU.com, and you can also get it at Amazon.com.
Right.
Excellent. Somebody asked that let's jump in because we're jumping questions. So the board's just going crazy. I got to tell you. Somebody wanted to know: is the spirit of Marie Laveau still around New Orleans?
Oh, absolutely, no question about it.
Have you encountered her?
She's very much a presence here. Still the queen of the city. People visit her grave in droves. I believe it is the most visited grave in the world. And, a challenging thing can be trying to get a moment alone with her at her grave, because there really are scores of people that come. But people leave offerings there. She continues to inspire and guide and strengthen people. She especially, I think, gives women a sense of their own power. And she's an awesome force, and again, a much misunderstood force. She was quite dedicated in her service. She worked with yellow fever victims. She had a whole ministry for people on death row. She was extraordinary. And there's a couple of good books out about her. Martha Ward's book, The Spirited Lives of Marie Laveau, Voodoo Queen, and Carolyn Morrow Long has a very scholarly academic book out with lots and lots of research. So it is possible for people to learn a lot more about Marie Laveau. I believe that she is in the process of becoming a Loa, and it fits all of the criteria that the story about her life and her daughter's life and possibly her granddaughter's life seem to be getting a little confused, and she's a very charismatic figure who's built up over time to become an archetypal figure. And she continues to visit people and possess people. Whenever we do our St. John's Eve ceremony, she shows up and is very recognizable. Doesn't matter who she's in, who her horse is, it's Marie Laveau, and she has that amazing presence about her. So she's very much a part of New Orleans.
Now, someone is trying to figure out how similar, and we all know, I know the history of both the Century and the Voodoo faith, but what they're asking in particular was that in Santeria you're supposed to shave your head, wear white, and not look into mirrors, and they're wondering, is that the exact same thing for the initiation in Voodoo?
No, it's not, and it's kind of comical. When I agreed to go down to Haiti and initiate, the first thing out of my mouth was, am I going to have to shave my head? And they had no idea what I was talking about.
Right.
The problem was, no, you don't shave your head. It's a very intense initiation. It lasts about 6.5 days, and some people do it shorter or longer, but it's approximately 6.5 days. And no, it's a period of isolation and kind of smaller death before rebirth into the life of the spirit. In order to get through the initiation, you have to take up your power. It's a very intense sojourn from the real world, and also very, very beautiful and empowering.
Right.
Oh, thank you so much for explaining that.
Yeah, because it's funny how many people, because they're so similar.
Well, they have the African, Afro-Cuban. They have a similar root.
And I think there are as many similarities as differences between related religions. There are certainly lots of differences, and at the same time, when I have people who are raised in Santeria come to my ceremonies, they certainly recognize what's going on.
Right.
It's not like we're in alien territory here.
Exactly. Now, I have and we see this a lot, and especially in Los Angeles.
Right.
There are people, and they come up and they claim to be Vodouns, and they tell somebody, well, I can initiate you, and all you need is $20,000.
Yeah.
Is there?
It's the same, and all I can say is buyer beware. If all someone is interested in is a certain amount of money, and that's what it takes to serve the spirit, something's definitely off. And it should not cost that much, for one thing. It's just somebody is scamming you.
Yeah,
I don't myself. I simply won't initiate somebody unless I've gotten to know them a little bit, and I've looked into spirit and asked whether this is an appropriate person for me to work with. It's not saying that person should or shouldn't initiate, but just whether they should be in my house.
Right.
Because each house is a little different. Everybody practices voodoo a little differently, and not only is it not for everyone, but not everybody's style is for everyone.
Right.
And it can actually be very harmful to a person if it's the wrong vibe for them.
Oh, wow.
Well, we watched somebody get initiated to the wrong Loa, and their life went. I mean, everything went downhill, and I mean, just slammed them downhill, and it was so sad. Because they saved up almost their whole life savings, gave it to this person, got the wrong one, then got told they got scammed. But in the meantime, they lost everything, including their health.
Yeah.
Now,
well, terrible things like that do happen, and I also think, though, that it's part of that person's past, and that there is recovery from that.
Right.
That it all happens for a reason. And it's just part of their deal. That, there are a lot of people that will say to me in general, voodoo doesn't work, it obviously doesn't work, look at how terrible things are in Haiti, look at how much people suffer there. When I was initiating, I must have had 50 different priests come to the door and say to me, don't think that voodoo's going to make your life easier. It won't. If anything, it's going to make it more difficult because, you have to serve spirit, and that's not all that functional in the real world. But it will tell you to what extent and to what point you can engage in your own life. So what I've found is that life is pretty hard, for everybody. And I don't care how well off you are or how privileged you are, it's hard for people.
Yeah.
And what voodoo has done for me is not only enriching my experience and my sense of the meaning of what I'm going through, whether it be pleasant and easy or really challenging and tough, but it also has given me the sense that I'm participating in my life, that it's really in my hands to turn whatever comes to me into positive good in the world. I think that's really the challenge to any servitor, is how can I assist in the forward progression of the world? And once you start thinking in those terms, you don't even notice so much if you're going through hardships. I think that that's part of why New Orleans was able to survive Katrina.
Right.
It was a mess here.
Yeah.
And there's no good reason why we were able to come back. But people just kind of loved the city, and they loved serving the city, and the city had a soul, and it's a city that was really truly built by voodoo, and the dances to an Afro-Caribbean beat. And so everyone's been able to kind of pull themselves up and focus on how can we make this better, how can we make ourselves stronger, how can we serve better, and it has made us stronger. And I have found that whenever there's been serious adversity in my life, for one thing, there just isn't time to sit around and wallow in it. But it also brings, I'm aware that there is some extraordinary benefit, and you can call it silver lining, whatever, but there is a tremendous strength and power that's going to be coming out of that very adversity. And without it, I would not be the person that I am today.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The board is back alive again. What does it mean to give up your power related to initiation?
To give up your power? No, I was saying you take up your power.
Yeah, I'd say take up. I didn't hear her say that either.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's a terrible. You do terrible things to yourself when you give up your power. People do it all the time. I've done it before. We'll fall into a relationship, say, where we just give ourselves away and let somebody tromp all over us and take our life force out of us. But the opposite, I would say, is true of the initiation, that in a sense you're powerless in that situation, and in one sense it's reflecting the whole experience of slavery. When the slaves were thrown into the hulls of slave ships and certainly couldn't act on their own will, and yet in the process, ironically, that is what empowers us. You have to find a different source of power, and part of that is that for instance, in the invisible realm, in the realm of imagination, in the realm of dream, nobody owns us, nobody controls us. We're alive and free. I think it is among the miracles of voodoo to take people who are enslaved and give them freedom, and to take people who limit themselves to a very mundane, materialistic world and open up the heavens and give us this extraordinary spiritual realm to be in. And that's pretty powerful stuff there.
Exactly. You mentioned just before how you perceive as New Orleans as possessing a soul. One of our previous guests said the exact same thing. We've yet to air it. We're talking to Layla Wendell, and she said the same thing. Do you think voodoo has something to do with that? I mean, not many people can say that this city possesses a soul.
I think that I certainly think that New Orleans is alive and has a soul. I think that the same elements were present here as were present in Haiti. There were African slaves, there were European Catholics, there were Native Americans, there were Masons who brought mysticism and magic. And you put all those together in a kind of gumbo, and you stir it up with some rhythm and dance, and I don't think there's any way that the soul of New Orleans could be destroyed. that it could be killed or kept down.
Right.
After Katrina, there was talk about just let New Orleans drown. It doesn't offer anything to the world. And again, in the United States, we simply don't recognize that there are things of great value and great worth that are invisible and that have nothing to do with money.
Yeah.
And it was the culture of New Orleans that brought us back and that is irreplaceable. And a lot of people poo-poo that, but it's all about soul.
Oh, that's beautiful. A lot of people, citizens of New Orleans, are convinced that they're trying to be wiped out, but everyone believes it will never happen. It's resilient, a resilient spirit.
Mm-hmm.
I have a quick question that somebody asked as well. What is the meaning behind wearing white?
White is simply seen as the color of purity.
Right.
There are certain rites when people wear red, which is seen as the color of power.
Yes.
It's interesting. I think it triggers a lot of people to hear white as purity. We think in terms of the opposites, black and white, but in voodoo it's red and white.
Right.
Sometimes purple. Oh.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. I know that it's late where you're at.
Yeah, and thank you so much.
And you had 1,000 things to do, and you got and you were very coherent because in our emails, because I hope I'm coherent.
Oh, you're more.
You're more
very eloquent. Yes.
So.
Thank you.
I want you because a lot of people visit New Orleans and they always ask, where do I go for something that's real. So if you can tell everyone about everything that you have out there, websites, what you do, the whole bit, let's go.
All right, it's a little lengthy, but we'll start with my shop. It's the Island of Salvation Botanica, and it's on Piety Street, as in religious fervor, Piety, 835 Piety. The phone number for it is 504-948-9961. And I've also got a peristyle, a temple here where we do ceremonies every Saturday night at 6:30. And that is called Asha de Meadows Peristyle. My voodoo society is called La Source Ancienne, means the ancient source. I don't think it's all that difficult to find this information on the web. You can even just punch in my name.
It's all there, yeah.
And you'll find most of it. Mm-hmm. The healing center that we're building is called the New Orleans Healing Center. And people can find that on the web at www.neworleanshealingcenter.org. And can also call my shop number again, 948-9961, area 504, to reach that. And happy to help people with information, and people are welcome to come to the ceremonies. I've just advised to please bring some white clothes in your luggage if you can. And we ask that people participate in the ceremonies and not just stand back and observe and bring a little offering for the spirit. And they can just call me at my shop to find out who we're serving.
That's amazing.
That is such a great invite.
I have never been to New Orleans. I would
when we come down there, we're going to come visit you.
Give anything to come meet you again and just visit the city.
Well, if you can, come at the end of October and experience the Ambadlo Halloween Eve Festival, and then come to the Day of the Dead. They're both wonderful, and they're a couple days apart, so it makes for quite a 48-hour whirlwind.
Oh, I bet it does.
We would try. You know how it is owning a store. Sometimes you're chained to your store,
Indeed.
Yeah, but I'm definitely going to try because, I'm tired of missing out on things personally.
Yeah.
There are people in the chat room saying, my hubby and I are going because we're going to New Orleans again. We're coming to see you.
Yeah, you've sparked a major flood of interest here, yeah.
It's lovely. It's very much worth the trip, and New Orleans is worth the trip.
Yeah.
It's, an increasingly generic world. New Orleans remains unique.
Exactly.
So, worth coming.
Well, thank you again, Sally, for all your time tonight.
Thank you all for doing the show and inviting me on. It was lovely.
Oh, thank you.
All right, y'all take care.
You too.
You too.
Good night.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Good night.
That was amazing. That was absolutely.
Playing music?
No, I'm not playing any music right now. We're live.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know what you were doing. Okay.
Oh no, I was Serenity saying, Sam, I am out there saying that it's going to be a road trip with us, and I think we all should go down to New Orleans.
I didn't think anyone sparked as much interest as Sally has.
Oh, this has been amazing.
I mean, via the board. I mean, the chat board.
This has been amazing. And she's actually an amazing person.
She is wonderful to talk to, and she's so informative and so giving with her information, because I don't think a lot of people would be. I mean, I've found like a few people who practice voodoo so precious with their information, and to my mind, they're trying to suppress the laws, what they're exposed to. They seem to think that they can control, what they see, hear, do, which is it's just not what it's about, You just can't, stifle.
No, you can't. No. Well, what
Mr. Benin, remember he used to say, the laws live for new experiences, new people,
Yeah. What we're going to do right now is we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a slight music break so you and I can kind of
drink some water.
Drink some water, get ourselves settled, and then we're actually going to come back and we're going to talk about voodoo, the concepts of voodoo, and the alchemical breakdown of Vevas.
It's going to be interesting,
and some Loas.
Usually it's a visual thing. So
what we're going to do is we're also going to do something special, because at the very end, if people hang in with us to the end, we're going to talk about the cowrie shell divination. So enjoy a couple of songs while we get ourselves prepped to teach you some voodoo.
Dans ta brede pour être pour nous là, m'bral faire magie à marcher. Ezili dans ta brede pour être pour nous là, m'bral faire magie à marcher. C'est où que marcher, c'est où qui ouais. C'est où que marcher, c'est où qui ouais attends. Ezili dans ta brede pour être pour nous là, m'bral faire magie à marcher. Si Ezili dans ta brede pour être pour nous là, pour me faire magie à marcher. Adieu, m'bral faire magie à marcher. Ezili dans ta brede pour être pour nous là, m'bral faire magie à marcher. C'est où que marcher, c'est où qui ouais. C'est où que marcher, c'est où qui ouais attends. Ezili dans ta brede pour être pour nous là, m'bral faire magie à marcher. Ah, brede pour être pour nous là, pour me faire magie à marcher. Adieu, brede pour être pour nous là, m'bral faire magie à marcher. Ah, brede pour être pour nous là, pour me faire magie à marcher. Ezili dans ta brede pour être pour nous là, pour me faire magie à marcher. Adieu, m'bral faire magie à marcher. Ezili dans ta brede pour être pour nous là, m'bral faire magie à marcher. C'est où que marcher, c'est où qui ouais. C'est où que marcher, c'est où qui ouais attends. Ezili dans ta brede pour être pour nous là, m'bral faire magie à marcher. Ah, brede pour être pour nous là, pour me faire magie à marcher. Adieu, oui, brede pour être pour nous là, m'bral faire magie à marcher. Ah, brede pour être pour nous là.
hope everybody is absolutely ready for this tonight. I want to start out with a little opening to Maman Brigitte, only because I love the Gettys so much. Au quoi, au jubilee, au quoi, au jubilee, au paris innocent. There's a lot of misunderstanding out there about voodoo, and it really is a beautiful religion. And it's something that actually is that everybody can grasp. I honestly believe that. They not only began to encompass other religions of the other areas they were brought to. They began to invoke not only their gods, but to actually practice the rites other than their own, and kind of bringing everything in. And I think that's what really opened up a lot of doorways for everybody to be able to grasp voodoo and to be able to be in it, even though a lot of people say it's a hereditary thing.
Like Sally said, it's a spirit.
Right.
It's an ancestral thing.
Right.
You know?
And so in this process, they commingled and modified rituals of various ethnic groups. Almost everybody was involved, and the result was of such a fusion from the different religious groups that they created a new religion, and that religion is actually called voodoo. Yeah, I don't know if any of you guys know that out there. It's not what it's called in Africa. You can't go to Africa and say, I want a voodoo store. They just kind of look at you like, what? Because they all practice so very differently. But when it all got meshed up in slave trading and traveling and people encompassing other faiths, it actually became voodoo. And the word voodoo comes from the West African word vodun, meaning spirit. And within the Vodun society, there are no accidents. There's no accidents. Nothing is by fate. Practitioners believe that nothing and no event has a life of its own. This is why it is voodoo. You too. You too.
Yep.
And you too. And everybody out there on the board and listening. The universe is all one, and each thing affects something else. And scientists know that. Nature knows that. Many spiritualists agree that we're not separate. And we all serve parts of one, and that's a really wonderful thing. Now, let's get really into some of the explanations. Let's get into Radha and Petra.
Okay, voodoo consists of you want to
take it?
Go ahead. Just go ahead and finish what you were going to say. I was going to say it, but you say it.
Go for it.
No, you say it too.
Go for it, and I can get a sip of water.
Well, voodoo consists of Radha and Petra, which is, what would you term it as, light, dark?
Well, Radha...
I don't know how to break it down into a layman's term.
Oh, okay, well, you got to look at the history of it. And Petra was a necessary force during the times of the revolutions and times when there was oppression.
Right.
And so there was this fiery, aggressive, angry, vengeful type of energy that the Loas actually had to take on.
Right.
And then Radha was a time of peace and love and happiness.
It goes,
and now you've got the two of them together.
Yeah, it's still a polarity.
It
stuff
is.
that we've discussed over and over in past shows, you know.
It is. And the thing of it is that the Loa, you have, let's say you have Urzule. Urzule is neither Radha nor Petra, but she's both.
Yes.
Actually. And at any given time, she can be called on to do either.
Yeah.
And so it's not like you have Petra spirits or Radha spirits. You just have different energies that you can pull in at different times. And of course, we're going to be going through that, Vic, when we do the alchemical breakdown of the Veve.
The other thing about voodoo is the misconception that the Loas are there to wreak havoc. So, and there's nothing further from the truth. The Loas play a very complex role, as does your family in real life. You know, they're there to understand the deeper connections to everyone and the universe, and to learn from you as well, because remember the Loas were once people too. So what you learn when you develop a connection with them, a relationship, what you learn, they learn too.
And they also teach,
because
they're learning from different people.
Exactly, and then that opens up to you in turn, you know. So they're there to teach as well. They also can be called upon for justice, and that is a form of a curse if you want to think about it, you know.
It really is to the person receiving it.
Yeah, but you can call on them about for just about anything. If you've been wronged, you won't. Your initial thing is, I seek justice, and they are very, very even-handed, and therefore the justice is quite fair, and it's any punishment, it's deserved. So it usually consists of the other person being taught a heavy lesson that in relation to what they've done. So in a sense, it helps them to grow.
Makes the world a better place, like Sally was saying.
Exactly. I mean, this totally, backs up everything Sally. I mean, she's an expert in her field, obviously, but just to break it down for you guys, so it's not to say that that justice isn't rough or deadly. If so, so be it.
Yeah.
On the other hand, as well.
I want you to stop talking that black magic to me, woman, about justice and all. It doesn't sound very black, though.
No, it doesn't.
It really doesn't.
No.
And here's the thing. When I was explaining to the woman in the store earlier today what the Loas do, she goes, "Well, they just kill people." And I said, "No, they don't." She goes, "Don't you call on them when you've been wronged?" And I said, "Don't you call on your gods when you've been wronged?"
And we're all calling for justice.
And she goes, "Yeah, and
yeah, so why are my gods going to kill and your god's not?"
Right, and I said, here's the thing. I said, you may call on your God to bring down the wrath of the hand of the Spitfire and the rocks are falling from the sky and the water's turning to blood and the toads are coming after you. And I said, but in the end, what the Voodoo Loas do is they whatever that person's done to you, when you ask for justice, what'll happen is that'll happen to them,
right?
And in the hopes that there's an eye opener to them, so they can grow and become a better person. Because it's not about smacking people down. It's not about striking people down. Voodoo has no place for just petty games. It really is to help make the person more enlightened, and grow.
Some people, you just
now given the chance that they do that, and they still don't learn their lesson, well then Voodoo smacks you down. But it's not the goal. The goal of it is to literally grow and to enlighten. And the other thing that what really got, here's the thing. Vicky met me. She goes, Voodoo, and I went, oh hell no.
I was like, yeah.
Oh hell no. And she just looked at me and I said, no, not playing with that. No, don't want to, don't care to learn about it. I had the same stick up my butt about Tibetan Bon too.
Yeah, and Norse.
And I've actually grown to love those philosophies.
And now you just can't shut her up about it.
Yeah, well, once you pull the stick out of my butt, we're good to go. It's the one thing that I really learned about Voodoo that was just so amazing to me is that it has of all the old religions out there, it actually has the rare ability to grow.
Exactly.
Like Sally was saying, it encompasses everybody now, and we were saying that it learns from you and things like that. Well, what happens is that it's actually considered an expansive religion. And with that said, what does that mean? What that means is Vicky and I are children of certain Loas, and what we are learning, our Loas are learning at the same time, so they may teach somebody else who's coming up on it. So everything that, say, our producer Serenity and Greg teach us about radio and the mixer boards, things that we had no idea about, our Loa just learned it.
Yeah.
And so somebody else coming up for it, the Loa can teach them, and so on and so forth. And like we know the Kabbalah. And we know Egyptian and Sumerian, and I'm sure there's many people before us that knew it too, but every one of our insights get added, and it helps expand the knowledge that the Loas can pass on. And that's you don't really see that in the other religions.
No, I haven't come across that before, to be honest.
You see their gods, and their gods stopped, what they did stopped right at where the religion stopped.
What I've found with the Loas is they have taught me what it means to feel, like what fear truly feels like, what, you know, happiness truly feels like. Not just, you know, the surface stuff, like the in depth. Like, I thought, you know, I've been afraid many times in my life, but I had this one experience with one of my lowers, and he made me afraid of, in, like, say for instance, I'll just say the colors. I wear a lot of red and black.
No, really? Was that why your hair's dyed that way?
Okay. I actually became afraid. It was part of my initiation. I actually became afraid of the colors red and black. It was ridiculous, but it taught me it was fear of, it was like a pure fear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to have it manifest as something like that made it even more fearful, because it was just two colors. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so the fear was out of this world. It was mind numbing. But what I'm trying to say is they make me feel alive. And at this, you know, and with all the lessons they've taught, so, you know, I feel a warm embrace, and I learn to respect what fear really feels like at the same time. So I've become really aware. You know what I mean?
And that's something. That's also something to learn.
And it just that simple lesson. It was really profound. It just opened up so much for me. You know, in other areas, basically, magically.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
like,
really
it just helped me
it.
tap, like, that of my emotions, you know, and that's my projection of energy is that much greater.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah,
I really think it is, because you've understood how deep that
I would
that
never
energy
have
is.
thought that, you know, such a lesson could amount to, you know, to that thing. You know, I never could have, like, thought out a lesson for someone for it to result in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you know what, we've actually got so many bullet points to cover tonight.
I know, and I'm being distracted by the board.
So we're being distracted by the board, and Sam said we had to get off at 9 p.m. Just kidding. No. God, Greg said. Greg spoke for Serenity while she was out, and said that we are welcome to. How did he put it? Run the poo out of the show.
That's right.
We can go as late as we want with this, and we might have to, because there's a lot that we have to break down. But
and it's going to be tricky, because, you know, as you said, it is a visual. When you're talking about VVs, which we'll get into a little bit, it's a visual thing. So this is going to be.
Well, we've been difficult to do over the radio, but we're going to give you guys some time with a couple of songs here. But what we want you to do is go grab a pen or a pencil and a paper.
Please, you'll need it.
You're going to need it unless you're going to do it in your head.
Yeah.
Go find something. Sam didn't say that. Go find something to write on, because you're going, because it's going to get really confusing in the head. And we really want to teach you the intimacy of Voodoo Veve and how you can create right to the self. So we're going to play. We're going to play Bestianity, Skull, Sky, Dome, Hex, and Rebel Jacobs, Forbidden of Fruit. When we come back, I hope you guys will have the pen and paper, because class is going to be in session full blast, and we're going to try to do this the best way we can. So enjoy this, and when we come back, get your thinking caps on.
Of the masters and slaves, we are this land. Our blood's in the sand, our soul it's the sea, and the animals and plants. Broken feet drag along from the red hill upon bony bodies of the innocent dreamers swing. We crash the corroboree, dumb rape and robbery, and the nightmare begins when the aurora spins. Skull, sky dome, here is my rivers of brown bubbles and glass shards were shipped. The presence of prison, police and priest, like dingo packs marauding where chaos unleashed. Skull, sky dome, here is my home. Fires of the black hells burning alone. Phones pointed west through the trees from the south. Flies in our eyes, birds in our mouths.
Sleeping on the sacred land, your apathy shows. Shaking on the golden hand, your depravity flows. Focus on this sacred land, your apathy shows. Shaking the golden hand, your depravity flows.
Lessons to learn and a future to earn. There are no others, just sisters, brothers. Be quick with the sticks and I'll teach you to burn. Paint necktie to nooses, winners to losers. Your arrogance unwelcome, your misery's your own. You'll live and die beneath the wide weeping sky. You'll fight for what's right or walk in with the drones. Skull, sky dome, here is my home. Fires of the underland burning alone. Lights pointed west through the trees from the south. Flies in our eyes, birds in our mouths.
but fumbling with our headphones.
But fumbling with batteries. Here you go, babe. Hey,
Hang on.
I hope everybody got their pens and pencils. So that they're ready to go with some paper. We have noise reduction headphones. Her battery was dying. There we go. So, as long as everybody has all their stuff, I hope so, because here comes the fun.
Okay, so we're talking about voodoos. A lot of people aren't familiar with that terminology, and it's a term for sigil or symbol. And there's like a bunch of them on the web that you can find. However, what most people forget or don't know is that voodoo is a very personal and very intimate religion. It isn't cold or impersonal, and although the standard veves, that you can find out there, in books and on the web, are really useful, just like any other sigil, using philosophy, we really to really make it yours, you must understand the intimacy of the veve. Now, before we get into that, you need to fully understand that the veve is really a giant alchemical symbol that is constructed from smaller and very precise symbols. In other words, there's a foundation that one begins with, and then begins to add requests to it that are very focused and precise into the areas that designate what kind of energy that you are going to reach into. So in voodoo, there's no circle that is cast. The circle, the calling down of the quarters, the elements, the gods, and the goddesses, referred to as the lowers, are done in the act of the veve.
Yeah, and they certainly are.
Right.
All right, here comes arts and crafts.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. And the first thing you want to do is to draw the crossroads. And kind of make it large so that you can write on it. And you may take a full piece of paper and draw. And what are the crossroads? The crossroads can be described as an even-armed cross.
Don't hit the edges of the paper, though.
No. Stay to the edges, because you're going to draw something on the very end. Now, the crossroads actually have such depth to its meaning. It's the foundation of every veve or sigil, and it's the foundation because it is Legba. That is the sigil, the symbol of Legba, Papa Legba. And Papa Legba is the gatekeeper, the messenger, the operator of sorts. All ceremonies begin and end with Legba. He is your connection to all other Loas and the spirit world. Without him, nothing comes and goes. So the foundation of every veve is Papa Legba itself. Now, the gatekeeper. And so so this is the foundation. So you've got your even arms drawn now. Big old, kind of like a cross, but it's even armed. So that it's not just short things, and it's kind of in the center. It's all even armed. Okay? Hope that makes sense to everyone.
Yeah,
it's
just
like
an even arm cross.
I'm trying so hard to do this.
Equal arm cross.
Equal armed. Yeah. Trying to make this as easy.
Just do a plus sign, basically.
The big giant plus sign. There you go. Now, the center of the veve, where the lines meet, this is where you are. It is you. That is where you are. Okay? That's you are the center of that.
That's your universe.
That's your universe, and you are the center of it. Therefore, you are receiving everything that's going to be done in this veve because you're at the center. You're at the center with Papa Legba. Okay? So far, so good, I hope. Now, the cross that goes from... See, I always get confused on vertical and horizontal.
Horizontal is the horizon, honey. So, yes.
Okay. I get confused. There are certain words that
just think of horizon.
Thank you. That's easy.
We're taught that in art class.
Oh, I like that. See, why didn't the priest teach us that?
I don't know, because you're taught by priest. I was saying, let's just not get into that.
Okay. Because the priest touched me.
There's no...
I had to go there.
Yeah, that's kind of touchy for some people. Okay.
Oh, I know, I'm sorry. So, across the horizon, the line that goes from left to right, that's the physical realm.
Right.
The world to which you see, the world to which you live in.
It's your plane of existence.
Your plane of existence. To the left of the vertical line that goes up and down. That's the spiritual realm. That is the world of the Loas and the spirits. So,
Oh my God. Sorry.
No, that's going to have to go on the podcast. Barbie said that she remembers horizontal as the horizontal dance is sex. That's how she remembers. I had to go there with that one. That has to be on the podcast.
Yeah, I guess so.
That has to be there. So the line that goes up and down is the spiritual realm.
Right.
Okay. The horizontal line is the physical realm. Now, you take the vertical line, and to the left of the vertical line, all of it, all to the left, is masculine. Everything to the right is feminine. Okay? Above, now let's move to the horizontal line. Above the horizontal line is Radha. Remember, we just discussed that, light. And below it is Petro, the aggressive. Now, when working...
We're just describing things right now, so don't write anything.
Well, and they could take notes.
Unless you're taking notes, don't,
Do I write anything? Well, right now you've got a giant plus sign. Now, if you want to make notes of what's feminine and what's masculine, what's Radha and what's Petro.
Maybe on a side note.
On a side note.
On another piece of paper.
Right?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So you got, again, the vertical line, left of it, masculine, right of it, feminine. Horizontal line, above it is Radha, below it is Petro. Okay, so far, so good. Let's hope. Now, if you, just try to follow me when working on the lines. In other words, if I place another sigil, which we'll be covering the specific little tiny sigils later, but if I place one of the specific sigils on the line, I'm bringing in polarity. Let's try it. I'm going to do another example. In other words, let's take the line that goes vertical and is above the center point. Okay, so we're on the top part of the plus sign. All right. If I place a request sigil on that line, I'm actually asking for Radha energy from both male and female Loas. So I'm kind of asking for a polarity. If I place it on the bottom of the vertical line, below the horizontal line, I'm actually asking for both the masculine and the feminine of the Petro energies. If I place the request sigil to the on the left of the horizontal line, but on the vertical, the left of the vertical line, but on the horizontal line. So I'm left of the vertical line, but I'm on the horizontal line to the left. I'm actually asking for Petro energies from both male and females, or I'm asking for masculine energy from both Radha and Petro. Sure. So I'm asking for both the male and female. Okay. Or no, just male.
You're asking.
I keep getting confused.
Honey, you're asking for the male
energy of both Radha and Petro.
Yeah.
If I place it to the right-hand side on the line, I'm asking for the feminine Petro and Radha. So I'm asking for a balance of that.
It's so hard to explain without a visual. It really is. It throws us too.
It really does. Those that are, I hope everybody's understanding, because I even got a little lost there. So if I'm to the left of the vertical line, and I'm on the horizontal line, and I put the request there, I'm asking masculine, Radha, and Petro. If I go to the right of the vertical line, but I'm on the horizontal line, I'm asking for feminine, Petro and Radha.
Exactly.
I'm asking for a polarity.
That was clearer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those of you on a podcast, those of you on the board, if we lose you in this show, please, info@occultistradio.com.
Yeah.
And we will try to explain a little better, or even send you a little graph.
Yeah, I was going to say, we might end up doing a visual of this.
Yeah, and if you want to email us, even if you got it and you understand, but you want the little graphic that we're going to do, please feel free to drop us a line at info@occultistradio.com.
Right. Yeah, let's just take another music break because I'm just hacking my lungs out here.
Okay, while we take another break, while you absorb this and you catch up with us, we're going to be watching the board for any kind of questions. When we come back, we'll answer you, and then we're going to move on to more about the crossroads, because now we're going to move into like the quadrant areas. So it's going to be a little bit, we're going to start getting a wee bit more into it. We're only going to take one song on this one because we really don't want to lose too much of their concentration. We're going to listen to Frater Oz's...
it's just so I can cough.
Yeah,
seriously.
Essie Lucis. Okay, and here we go. I'm gonna take the board right now.
Everyone's getting confused.
Because we're getting confused out there.
I think they're confusing each other.
Here we go. Are you guys ready? I'm gonna try to break it down really simplified. Radha, light, love, happiness, no need for aggression, anger, or revenge. Petra, anger and justice. Okay? It is the need for protection and to fight for your rights of what's yours. That's right, Sam. You got it on the board. Now, Petro and Radha are not two different beings. They are alter egos of the exact same God or Loa. They are exactly what you are, human. You have your loving side, push your buttons, and you have a side that will strike back if necessary. Now, that's Revmo, by the way, scratching the cage. Now, you have your Radha and your Petro, same energies, same Loas. You have a plus sign. The horizontal line is the physical world. The vertical line is the spiritual world. Now, on the spiritual line, you'll see that it is cut in half so that there are two parts to it, an upper part and a lower part. The upper part are the Radha spirits. The lower part of that line are the Petro spirits. You have the horizontal line that is cut in half by the vertical line. To the left is masculine, to the right is feminine. Now, below the horizontal line is all Radha. Below it, it's all Radha. Or it's all Petro, I'm sorry. It's all Petro. Below the line is all Petro. If it's to the left of the vertical line, it's Petro-masculine. If it's to the right, but below the horizontal line, but to the right of the vertical line, it's Petro-feminine. If it is above the horizontal line, it's all Radha. But if it's to the left of the vertical line, it's masculine Radha. If it's to the right of the vertical line, but above the horizontal line, it's all feminine and it's all Radha. So, okay, does this clear this up? I'm hoping that this clears this up because this is really important because you want to get intimate and specific. So,
I think it was pretty clear.
I think that one was clear. So we're going to move on now to the area, to different areas.
Okay,
Vic,
so
you want to go ahead?
Let's just move on to just the crossroads. Okay. See how you have 4 squares. If where the lines are dissected, each area represents a square. So let's talk about each one of them. Starting from the upper left, if you placed a request sigil in that area there, just in the open space, that would be specifically asking for a masculine Radha energy. So let's give an example. Say if you put in a Zuli heart. So a Zuli heart, it's shaped like a heart basically. Usually it has a frilly edge to it, but anyway, just imagine a heart. That would be the heart for Zuli, the lower of love and passion. So if you placed it in the upper left-hand corner, you'll be asking for a masculine love. If you placed it in the upper right-hand corner, you'll be asking for a feminine love. But if you placed it in the lower left-hand corner, you'll be asking for justice for being scorned, using a Zuli to punish a male. But if you placed it in the lower right-hand corner, you'll be asking for justice for being scorned, using a Zuli to punish a female. So what you put in the corner areas are extremely focused energy work. I hope that was clear. I think with your explanation prior to this, it should make sense.
I have a schedule to take a break right now. I don't think I want to. I think we should be clear enough.
I think if we take breaks, we'll lose people.
And I'm hoping that they're still following us. So, it's kind of like the little quadrants there in the open area. So you get the really focused, extremely focused energy work.
Right.
Because at that point, you're calling in only that part of the ego.
Right.
So if it's in the upper right, if it's in that blank area,
Right.
and it's to the upper right, you would only be asking for Urzule,
To bring you a
female
love.
but only Radha Urzule. You don't want any aggressiveness in
to
Urzule.
bring you a female lover.
Right,
basically.
but if you put it just down below to the lower right, you would be asking only for the Petro ego of Urzule.
Yeah.
If you put it on the line,
Well, Gina, if you're scorned.
as
a lover.
Okay. If you put it on the line, you would be asking for both aspects of Urzule to come in. If it was on that that horizontal line,
Exactly.
and to the right,
Yeah.
you would be asking for the feminine Urzule, but because it's on the line, it would be asking for both Radha and Petro Urzule.
Now, why would people do that?
People would do that if they wanted to bring in a balanced love life so that they would be protected at the same time. In other words, it would bring in that whole passion aspect to it at the same time.
Yeah.
Because pure Radha wouldn't have any passion to it. There'd be no oomph. There'd be no sex. There would be no sex that you could smell.
Yeah, I just thought I'd preempt the question because you know it's going to come up. Right.
And so it's one of those that you would put it right there on the line so that you'd bring it in both. If you were just looking for a friendship or just something that was really soft and loving but no passion to it, it would go into the upper right quadrant, but not on the line because there'd be none of that passion in it.
Right.
Remember, Petro is more passionate.
Exactly.
There's more fire to it.
So you got to keep that in mind.
Yeah,
just like red is passion. It's like it can be a warring passion or it could be a burning hot passion. You know what I mean?
I'm waiting to see. I'm going to judge the podcast on how many angles we have to hit by what we're getting off the board.
Yeah, it's really the only feedback we have right now.
So I'm going to take it that we understood that because we don't have any questions coming through.
So,
and let's go to into what those focus symbols are.
So, I guess let's go on how to end the lines.
No.
Oh, no, hang on.
No.
Where are we going? Oh,
focus symbols. Focus symbols. They need to know how to focus the work
That's
precisely.
right. Okay.
So you've laid the foundation now.
Yeah.
You have the plus sign.
Sorry.
You understand Petro.
I jumped the gun.
You jumped the shark. You understand Petro.
Okay.
We understand Radha. We understand masculine. We understand feminine. We understand what happens when we put it on the line. What happens when we put it above or below the lines.
Right.
Okay. And now we are going to go into the focused symbols that are used for specific workings.
And there's a number of them.
Yes, right. Yes. Well, Petro is
passion, spicy.
Spicy. It is very spicy, yes. which is passion in all its forms.
Yes.
Now, there's the feather. The feather can be placed anywhere, and it is like not
justice.
Only, the feather can be placed anywhere in the vase, depending on what kind of energies you want to pull in. Not only does it fan those energies up, it also acts like a quill. It's almost like a so it is written type of understanding on it. So if you placed it in the Radha section, it would be so it is written on the Radha side.
No.
Don't just say no.
No.
We'll get to Urzule.
I wasn't going to say just no.
What happens if you put it in dead center, and what situation would you do that? You wouldn't want to put a feather in the dead center.
Is he talking about the feather, do you think?
Or here's the thing. You can put a heart that makes you the center of the focus. But remember, you being in the center is the focus. And there is actually a specific that you can do so that it's aimed right at you. And it kind of looks like a diamond. If you drew a diamond, that connected, if you go to the center of your plus sign.
Almost like drawing a web.
Right. Yeah. It's almost like drawing a web. Go to the center of the crossroads. And then connect down the center a diamond like a web. You're in the center of that diamond. That center point's in the center of the diamond. That diamond is a magnifier to you. It is the only thing that you would want to put on top of yourself because you are the conduit to both the physical world and the spiritual world at that moment. So you don't want to put too many symbols in you. You may want to magnify them to yourself, but you don't want to put them in you. That was a good question, Wolf. Thank you.
Yeah.
Success out there. We will be talking about Urzule a little bit later.
I think if we talk about it now, it just get confusing.
We're just going to stay on the focused aspects of it. So we have a feather. Now the feather can be placed anywhere, and that's what brings it up. There's the sacred rattle, the Ason.
Mm-hmm.
That brings up the vibrations. It brings up the vibrations of that energy. So if you put it on the line, it would bring up the vibrations of that, both the, if you put it on the line above, it would bring up, if you put it on the vertical line, it would bring up either masculine or feminine, either Radha or Petra, wherever you're placing it. If you put it on the horizontal line, it would be bringing up either the masculine Radha and Petra, or the feminine Radha and Petra. If you only put it in one area, those are the energies that you're calling forth. That's almost like the calling forth of those energies. You have the Marasa. Those are all the ancestors that you want to call in. Now that symbol. Let's talk about what the symbols look like. The feather actually looks like a feather. With the little, it looks like a feather. The rattle is actually a circle
with a crosshatch in it.
With a crosshatch in it. The Marasa are like
Looks
a
like
really
two
wide
V's.
V, with a real wide V with another real wide V that lays on top of it. So you've almost got like a unicursal hexagram on it. So
how else would you describe it? It's like a unicursal hexagram.
Yeah, if you just kind of had if you put your two fingers out like a peace sign, and then connected your knuckles with your fingers facing opposite of each other, that's a Marasa. I hope that everybody can kind of understand that. Yeah. If you just cross knuckles to knuckles, it's a Marasa.
Almost makes it. I was going to say almost makes. No, it doesn't.
No.
Yeah.
There'll be a diamond in the middle of it.
Yeah, there'll be a diamond in the middle of it, So you're not joining your two fingertips together. You're going past that and putting the fingertips past the knuckles.
Basically. So you're knuckle to knuckle.
Yeah. Okay.
Gonna need pictures.
Yeah, well, like we said, we'll do pictures.
We'll try.
In the end.
Strength. What I want you to do is take your two fingers like a V, hold them out kind of wide.
Yeah.
Take your other two fingers and make a wide V.
Turn that hand upside down.
Turn that hand upside down and put knuckle to knuckle.
Yeah, overlay the one knuckle over the other knuckle.
So one hand goes over the other hand, knuckle to knuckle. That's a Marasa.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Okay.
Now, a cane is used, that's a Getty sign, and it just looks like a cane. It's just
like a cane.
A straight line with like a little crook on the top of it.
Yeah.
And that is for
health.
You have a top hat.
Yep, and it looks like a top hat.
And it looks just like a top hat. And that is for revenge, or kind of like a big justice. It's a huge justice symbol because it's a baron.
It's a baron.
It's a baron. You'll have
a skull.
A skull.
Right. Yeah.
That's actually a big curse. Mm-hmm. That's a huge hex to put on something, and you would actually make the Veve with their name written in the middle, not yours.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's true. There are Veves on the Panpipes website, but it won't break it down. We will try to on our Facebook site and on the Occultist Radio. We will do a breakdown of the Veves. It'll just take me a couple hours tonight to get that done.
We'll just hand draw it and scan it or something.
So you have a heart. The hearts are Urzule. That's for love. You have cups.
It just looks like the bowl of a cup. There's no stem.
There's no stem. It's just like a.
Looks like a bowl.
Yeah, it looks like a bowl basically. Mm-hmm. And then there's ones, and it looks like a music note. It's just one line down. It looks like a B. It looks like a lowercase B.
But it's a musical note that looks like a B. So.
And you're calling in almost the dance for that. When you put the B's in things, it's to actually almost get mounted with that energy, to have clarity in that area. And the bowls are for offerings. It's almost like it's called a dry offering.
Right.
In other words, there's no offering. There's no offering in it. It's just a bowl. There's we covered the diamond as a bullseye.
Right.
And there are individual symbols of the Loas. There are individual symbols of the Loas that we will discuss in a bit that you will also add in to call in those loas.
Okay, so I guess now we can go to the end of the lines. At the end of each line, there's going to be a sigil inserted there. So they can be like either the same or they can be different ones depending on what it is that you want to do. So if you make a line, hang on, if you get to the end of the line and you, what do? You draw a curve on the end of it?
Yeah, you could draw a curve like you're kind of making a U-turn back to the center of the Vede.
Yeah. Like say we're on the horizontal and you're on the right side. So when you get to the end of the line, continue that line into a U. Just a little U on the end there. So just that line curves over. And then do the same to, on that same line, do another curve facing downwards. So it looks like a little, how would you describe that?
Okay, it goes up and it almost looks like a little water fountain type thing.
Yeah, but sideways.
But sideways. So,
like a sideways.
It's like the line's going upwards and then it splits into two and they each make a U-turn back.
Like a little half circle.
Like a little half circle, just a little bit. Okay, and it comes back down towards the center.
And you can put those on all the lines. And what that means is because of that curve, the energy comes back onto you. So, but if
say they put it on the rada, say they put it on the vertical rada,
right,
which is the top,
right,
and they do that. That means all the rada are coming back onto you.
It's a come back around.
Right, it looks like a fountain.
Yeah.
If you go down the line, and you curve it back up,
it almost looks like a hook at that point.
It looks like a hook
because you're on the downwards line. Yeah.
Right. It looks like a downward line.
It looks like a double-sided hook at that point. You know?
And it kind of looks like an anchor. Mm-hmm. Looks like an anchor.
Looks like an anchor.
Looks like an anchor.
Looks like an anchor. Okay, there you go.
Sounds like two words. First syllable. It looks like an anchor.
Looks like an anchor.
It means that it is coming up back towards you from the petro side.
Right.
If it's on the physical realm, you're either bringing in the masculine side,
right,
or you're bringing in the feminine side.
Yep. So, so that covers those.
Well, now what happens?
No, those line formats.
Those line formats
is what you preempting me.
Sorry, jumped the shark.
So yes, you did this time. So now, if you were to put a line at the end, it's like a closing off. That is exactly what you're doing. It's like putting you're closing it off. It's like
it
a roadblock.
It would look like a T-stop.
Yeah, it looks like a roadblock, a T-stop. Yeah. Yeah, like when you're in sports, when they do the timeout.
Anyway, or on road signs, there's the T intersection.
But you're not timing out anything, obviously. You're blocking off at that point. You know what I mean? So nothing, it doesn't come through, nothing comes through. Or you're stopping it from progressing. So, what else is there?
There's other ones, but really, let's just stick with some more traditional. Those are the ones that are traditionally used the most of.
Those are the most commonly used ones.
And you could get away with just knowing that forever if you had to.
And we would lose them if we were to get more in depth into.
I don't even know how to describe the other ones.
Yeah, it'd be too hard to do an explanation of it, without a visual.
But those are really the two mainly used ones that they would need.
Yeah.
It wouldn't matter.
The curved ones are the ones that you'll see most often, more than anything.
Say you only wanted to bring in the rada energy on the
you
vertical line.
Combo.
You do like the fountain coming down onto you. Then down below on the end of that line below, you put a T stop, like a line,
upside down T,
an upside down T on it, and that stops the petro
from coming up. So it's a roadblock, kind of.
So you can actually control what energies,
what you want to bring in and what you want to block. Yeah.
Now there are when we come back, because I need to break my tongue's getting tied and I need to wipe my forehead.
Food always makes us hot. Stop.
When we come back, we are going to go through the loas and their symbols so that you can start placing those on there. Right. We are going to take just a slight break. It's not a big break, guys. We're going to watch the board.
We'll just do like a song.
We're just going to do a song. We're going to do Snow White's Sin's Rune so that it's kind of calming and just music.
Well, I don't know if it's calming, but
it'll calm me.
I like it.
This is a little harder than
It's an instrumental, so
this is a little harder than I thought when to bring out this subject.
That's what I'm saying. It's an intense subject.
Hoping everybody's getting this.
But it's worth the effort.
Oh, it's well worth the effort. Anyway, when we come back, we're going to listen to Snow White Sin's Rune, and then we're actually going to start in on the Veves.
Okay, so we're back.
We honestly can teach this, and I usually teach this really smoothly.
I think we're doing fine.
She's sound like
hypercritical. I think it's fine. Okay.
Seriously, just give me a tin cup, and I'll just dance like a little monkey for the rest of the show because
everyone says it's fine, so you're just overreacting. Okay, so I think we should go into a list of the main laws and what they do and their symbology. So as Jimmy mentioned prior, you can put them as a veve, onto your
You can put their symbol.
Yeah, their symbol onto the veve is what I meant to say. So that way you can contact that specific loa for whatever reason, purpose that you have in mind.
Look, it's 9:11. We're done with the show. Sorry, no, I'm just kidding.
Oh my lord! Oh wow. Okay. Well, we're going to be really over time. Sorry, guys. So and if you want like a more extensive list of the loas, you can visit our Facebook fan site. Just go to the Panpipes Magical Marketplace in the discussion area, and there's also some rites and some spells in there as well. So first up, we're going to talk about Aida Wido. And it's the deity of the rainbow among the Nago people in Africa, and they're represented as a serpent surrounded by a spectrum of colors. Her symbol is a rainbow snake.
So you draw the snake the best you can, including just a little squiggly line with an arrowhead.
Yeah, her husband is Dambala. I don't see it on my list here, but just...
it's on there.
Oh, it is? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, it is. Okay, we'll get back to Dambala later. You know what? No, I'll just do Dambala now. So, Dambala is her husband. He's the universal snake. And he takes from you negativity. And he's symbolized by a blue and a brown colored snake. So, there you go. And, normally if you have them together, sometimes they have some lightning and their universal symbol is an egg.
It is.
Sorry, I just had to throw that in.
And sometimes it's the egg with the snake that wraps around
exactly. It. Like, what's that called? The snake with the egg. We have a statue of it. Damn it.
Oh, dear God, you're not asking me to remember something else.
My mind
it's the cosmic...
The cosmic egg. Oh, my mind has drawn a blank.
It's the cosmic egg. But you know what? The two of them. Aida Wido.
Yeah.
No, it's not the catechist.
No.
That's the snakes that run up at the cross.
I'll think about it.
Yeah, it's if you look up the cosmic egg, it'll give you
the name. If for some reason it's just not there.
However, Aida Wido actually brings good things to you, while Dambala takes bad things away. So when you draw the snakes onto the, if you draw them onto the veve, what you want to do is you want to have the snakes coming towards you, one snake leaving and one snake coming towards you, because that would have something. When the snakes are coming towards you, they're bringing great things. When they're going away, they're either taking away negativity, but you don't want them both to be going away from you, because then it just takes everything away from you. And you don't want to take everything away from you. You only want to take the negative. So one snake leaves, while one snake comes at you, so that that comes at you. So your next loa.
Okay, so the next one is Aizan. The primal or archetypal Mambo, sometimes considered to be the wife of Loco, with whom she shares the guardianship of religious traditions, healing powers, and reverence due to parents and to ancestors. She's the patroness of initiation, and the palm tree is her symbol.
Just draw these the best you can.
Yeah. Just draw a quick little palm tree, Baron Criminel, Baron Lacroix, Baron Samade. Intensely powerful and therefore magical, Loa of the Dead, considered to be the family of Gedi, but of New World rather than of African conception, Petro rather than Rada, and his symbol is a top hat, a skull, or a cigar.
You actually can use the barons, even though they are mainly just Petro. If you use them in the Rada sense, they actually can stop somebody from dying. It is considered he stops people from taking them over the crossroads into the dead, into the world of the dead.
Yeah. Next up is Brigitte, Mademoiselle Brigitte, Madame Brigitte, Grande Brigitte. A Loa whose French Celtic name evokes European associations of folklore and myth, Grande in Creole signifying grandmother. Maman Brigitte, as she is often called, is the female guardian of graves, a powerful magical Loa of cemeteries, and is said by some to be the wife of one of the barons. Her sacred tree is the elm and the weeping willow. Simbi. It's another snake.
Hold on just a moment. You do have a question in the room. They asked for the Sama Day. They missed the symbol is a top hat.
Oh, a skull,
cigar?
a skull and a cigar.
Yeah, and I'm trying to spell the names out as you're going.
Okay. Do you want me to slow down?
No, you can keep going.
Okay. Simbi, another snake, as I said, a magical and powerful water snake loa who serve both Radha and Petra rites. His symbol is a snake, but this snake has teeth. He is the loa of psychic awareness and creativity. I think you can also find him in like rivers, any kind of running water.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And he has a lot of archetypes, actually, in as far as in animal format.
Yeah.
Okay, so Legba, derived from a great solar and phallic deity, Legba or Legba of Dahomey. The loa Legba is one of the principal and most revered in Haitian voodoo. Although now transformed to the aspect of an old man, he is still the powerful guardian of the center post and the opener of the gates, to whom first salutation is due in any ceremony of communication with the loa. The main gateway is the honfo, which is like a house, and a house to describe
temple.
The temple. It's almost like a house temple, but it's a temple basically.
It's their house.
It's their house, yeah. It's frequently been denoted by two trees sacred to Legba. And normally a honfo has a tree up the center. Which is called the
the peristyle.
Peristyle.
And here's the thing: the tree that grows to the center of the honfo, actually, and we'll be explaining the terminology too.
Yeah.
Actually, acts as the crossroads, where the tree that grows upwards is the Radha spirits. The roots would be the Petra spirits, and then the land that you're walking on is the land that you're walking on.
Exactly.
Which is like a really great explanation.
I know, it is. Right?
Yeah, it's like the tree of life for voodoo.
Right.
And his symbol is actually the big crossroads, the plus sign.
Right. Okay, so then we're going to go on to the Marasa. And in following with voodoo's African roots, the twins, which are, represented by twins, are held in a sacred light. They are considered to have great magical powers and the ability to heal. Twins in real life usually are able to manifest different abilities easier than most. It is a natural talent. The power of the loa Marasa is strongly with them. Thus they are able to control things and to make magic of their own variety. So the symbol, as we discussed earlier, was a wide V with another V, like I said, knuckle to knuckle, making like a universal hexagram. And
another way to do the Marasa, and I just thought about it.
Right.
Draw an X, and then draw another X, and have the top and the bottom of the X connect.
Oh yeah.
And that would work too.
Yeah.
So it would kind of work. I'm placing two X's on the board, but if you connected those together, so instead of having that little space, that's the Marasa. If you type two X's,
if you move them,
if
like
you just move
slightly to the one of them slightly to the left, so they touch.
That's the Marasa.
That's what they look like. Yeah.
God, I should have thought of that sooner.
Yeah, well, that's kind of hard to explain too, but Anyway, okay, so La Sirène. She can bestow great wealth and beauty upon her children and servants, but be sure to serve her well or she will take it all away. She drowns people as punishment as well.
I will drown you.
Her symbol is a mermaid. So of course, you if you to go and revere her, it'd be near water.
And to draw her actually on
and then there's the boat.
No, that's Agwe.
Oh no, that's Agwe, yeah. But hang on, you can combine the...
No, usually Agwe... well, you combine Agwe because he's protection on the water, and so he always flies the flag of La Sirène, so she doesn't drown his boat.
His people.
His people. So really, just draw the most basic little tiny person, top body with like hair, and then give it a fishtail.
It's almost like those old galleon ships that had the female masthead, the figure in the front.
Well, that was to the sirens.
To the sirens, La Sirène.
La Sirène, the sirens.
So that's just a European... It makes you wonder.
Wonder.
Anyway, Azule, law of beauty and love and passion. She's the goddess of fertility as well. And she's also the scorned woman who seeks revenge if done wrong. And her symbol is the heart. And of course, there's variations. You know, if you have the Dantor, it would be with a dag. No, that's with a cross hatch.
That's the cross hatch. If you want the scorned Urzule, the Petro Urzule, the La Flambeau Urzule,
you would put
there's a dagger that goes through it.
Kind of runs.
Kind of cross or horizontal. Or
not
vertical.
Really. Horizontal, vertical. Anyway, it runs across. You know, like you would do a heart with a arrow running through it. Well, this would be a dagger.
A dagger. Then you'd have a crosshatch
with little dots in
it, which would show the shot blast of shooting you through the heart.
It's like the shotgun blast. So you have a crosshatch, and in the center of each square would be a little dot.
Mm-hmm. If you wanted to Urzule Freda, you would have, it would be a crosshatch with a heart with pretty lace around it and all kinds of swirls like coming off of it. Very frill.
Yeah, but it's very pretty.
Very pretty.
And then let's do Ogun.
Ogun
is, of course, a good work ethic. Good for work and prosperity. He is a smith by trade and especially good for those who work with their hands.
He's great for justice, too. Big time justice.
Yes, he is. And his symbol is the machete.
Diagonal. That's the word we were looking for, diagonal.
What is wrong with us? I'm still trying to rack my brain for the name of the snake with the Orphic egg.
The Orphic egg.
To me. I knew it would come eventually. Okay, so it is the Orphic egg.
Okay. So, but anyway, back to Ogun. Good justice guy, smith by trade, work with their hands, and his symbol is?
Oh, the machete?
Mm-hmm. There's also...
I'm sorry.
There's also Shango.
You left out...
No, I haven't left out anybody. Shango.
He's got the dance rattle.
He has a dance rattle, but
that's
his...
kind of shaped like an axe.
It looks like a, double axe head.
Would you call it that? Double axe head.
Yeah.
And double it usually has like little, if you like... we have a nice paper mache one, a vintage one. It's got little seeds inside, so it rattles.
And he's good for protection. Great protection. I mean,
he's read him.
He will knock down. He will knock down your people like fast. Yeah. Anybody in the way now. Somebody heard that the Cuba people will not say Ogu's name because they fear him. No, that's not. I don't think that's true. I got a feeling that what you're talking about is they won't say the three, and that's in Santeria.
Yeah,
that's not voodoo.
You gotta,
Cuba does Santeria, and they may not say Ogu's name, but that's Santeria, and it's not voodoo.
Santeria also has a lot of superstition. I hate to say it, but there's a lot of superstition steeped in it.
Yeah.
And,
but it's Vodou doesn't believe in that because Ogun is also the kind person that rebuilds houses. So, New Orleans called on Ogun to rebuild itself.
And in Santeria, their orishas were never. Didn't they say they weren't really? They were people initially, but they seem to have a more. I don't know. To me, it doesn't seem a more embracive aspect to them as the Loas do.
I want to get into the whole Loa Getty net right now.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah, we're kind of going off on a tangent.
And we're already at 9:24.
Okay,
and we may be, because we may be fired.
Yeah, we're going to be like, it's going to be like 2 hours past our usual sign-off time.
Now now there are the Getty. And the Getty are both a Loa unto himself, and he is also it's also a family, so it becomes a little confusing, so I'm going to try to really explain this out. The Loa Getty on his own is the Loa of health and healing. So he's symbolized by the cane with the crook on it. You call upon him to stop sick children or anybody sick from dying. You petition Getty. Now, the family Getty. This is where it becomes confusing, because the Loa Getty family is a huge family. It's enormous, as many and varied as were the souls from which they originated. Since they all are members of the same family, spiritual children all have the same last name of LaCroix, and that is that's the LaCroix family, which means the cross. No matter what other name they bear, their signature is always got a cross in it. Now, those are, golly, some of the Gettys include the Getty Arapice LaCroix, Brave Getty de LaCroix, Getty Secretary de LaCroix, Getty T. Charles de LaCroix, Micaiah Makosa de LaCroix, and Maman Brigitte, Papa Legba, Simbi, Limbi, Esu, Kalfu, Oya.
Off the top of your head now.
I'm off the top of my head right now. Oya. Anybody who's been made into a poen, which is a dead person. A dead person. I have a little poen up there. It's a clay jar.
He's in a vessel.
And and you take the spirit of a dead person.
It's created in a cemetery.
Created in a cemetery, placed in there, wrapped in a silk cloth, wrapped very nicely. It's got a little,
That's monkey skull.
Monkey skull on top of it, and a big black cross on top of that. My poen is used actually for Getty, which is for healing. So,
and we know he was a young man.
Yeah, and we know he was a young man. So you've got Baron Criminel, Baron Samade. So all the Barons, Mama Brigitte, Oya, Legba, Esu, Kalfu, are all in the Getty family. In fact, there's more in the Getty family than there isn't in the Getty family. You know, Shango's not in the Getty family. Ogu is not in the Getty family. Urzule's not in the Getty family. And
where would Lembe's? Did you do Lembe?
Yeah, I said Lembe's in the Getty family.
He's in both.
Yeah, he's
actually. He's got
the dual world.
Yeah, dual world.
So there's like most of the voodoo Loas that deal with anything on the Petro side are Getty family, and it includes anybody. And now Petro doesn't mean that it's completely bad, because even Getty, Getty just heals.
Right.
Maman Brigitte's wonderful for justice. I mean,
yeah.
Now Gettys, the vast majority of Gettys are male. You have Mama Brigitte, who's a female, and then you have one that I actually came across, and she's called Gedaliah. And her name is emblazoned on actually buses in Port-au-Prince. I saw photos of it when Haiti was having the big riots.
Oh right, yeah.
Gedaliah, and
I was wondering what that was.
That's a female Getty.
I mean, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking it was a feminized aspect, but I hadn't heard of it at the time.
Now, you know what's great is that the Gettys may possess anyone at any time. And now, where the other Loas will possess mainly the children or those that they have connections with, Gettys will make it a point to possess people who don't like them, or people who don't believe,
or participants. I mean, not participants, observers.
Right, observers. There, in Haiti, there was a guy, and there's a story of a guy, and he was yelling hate slang at this gay guy on the street, and one of the Gettys possessed him.
Oh man!
And made him go grab crotches of men and act gay. Just
they have
the justice of it all.
A mischievous sense of humor.
Yeah, there was. She said, there's another story that a Protestant, big time one, out on the streets protesting the voodoo. The voodoo procession. She yelled at him, "Look at those disgusting whores. They have no respect for themselves." And on the spot, a Getty possessed her, threw her to the ground, and declared from her prostrate body that he would take her to join the ancestors forthwith. the Gettys. I've heard the stories in Haiti where people have gone over there and they're on vacation and they've said something foul about someone that was in the Haitian procession. Something about her being a prostitute, like a woman was being a prostitute and she had been possessed by the Gettys. The Getty jumped from that woman over to this other woman, and this other woman stripped down to her bras and panties and said and started giving out amounts that she would take, like $3, $3.
No.
That's the kind of justice the Gettys give out.
Yeah, like
you judge, the Gettys judge you.
It's kind of like a wicked sense of humor at the same time.
It really is. We're children of the Gettys.
But yeah, we are children of the Gettys.
We actually belong to the Getty family.
And our sense of humor tends to
be on the dark side. Just a little dark. Well, your sense of humor is on the dark side. Yeah. I'm light and fluffy.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Anybody who knows me knows I'm light and fluffy.
Yeah, you're so fluffy.
Now, the Getty family, including Momo Brigitte and Baron, are absolutely notorious for their use of profanity and sexual terms.
Yeah.
There is a reason for this. The Getty are dead.
They love to experience life.
But the Getty are dead, and they're beyond punishment.
Yeah.
No further can be done to them.
Yeah.
So the use of profanity among the normally formal Haitians is a way of saying, I don't care.
Right.
Past beyond all suffering, I can't be hurt.
Exactly.
In a country where disrespect for authority figures was until recently punished by torture or death, this is a powerful message. You know, because you get somebody in the processions, and they don't curse you. Their profanity is never to be vicious. It's not like, well, effing you effing. It's not like that. It would be more like, so how's your effing day there? and you know, there are some very stately and dignified songs sung to Getty, particularly older Gettys. But nowadays the accent is on the Getty humor that's where they provide. And here's a popular song for Getty in public celebrations, and then what happens is that the actual boudons don't actually sing it. The participants will get possessed.
Do you want me to say the English after each line?
Do you want to say it?
Yeah, I don't mind saying it.
Okay. I'm not sure if we're supposed to beep ourselves, but it's not going to be really foul language.
We're not saying anything.
So, but we're just going to let it rip.
We're just going to say exactly how it translates.
But participants will all of a sudden get possessed and say...
It's a little saucy.
It's a little saucy. Hold on to your socks, folks. Okay? And remember, these are participants that get possessed.
And this is you know what happens. You know, we're not being all scandalous and making fun.
Oh no, this is just what they. This is the other side of voodoo. The side that you don't see.
And we're not saying it just cause of what's being said. It was just to explain to you. You know, this is part of who they are.
Serenity, block your little ears. We don't want your virgin ears to get hurt. Okay, here we go in Haitian Creole, and then Dick will repeat it in English.
How's your Haitian Creole?
Oh, it's okay.
Okay.
Si kokoti gendali tap mai gari.
If vagina had teeth, it would eat roast corn.
Si paski lapi jen donkey fe la mangi zozo kale.
It's because it has no teeth why it eats peeled peanuts. That's
saucy.
That's saucy.
It's very saucy. Extremely saucy.
I just love the way they word things and their mindset of.
And here's the thing.
It's kind of unique. To me, it's a unique thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and I kind of like the flavor of it. You know, it kind of gets you into the mode of what, of who they are, and yeah.
Belinda blocked her virgin ears.
Oh wow. It wasn't that bad. Okay, I guess we're going to go into a slight break, even though I don't want to.
Oh, you don't want to? Then we don't have to. Let's not.
Okay.
Let's not.
Let's just keep going.
Let's keep going.
So, because it's already, 35 past. Okay, so I guess we're gonna, before we get into the divination with shells, here are some basic terms you should know. So we'll do these pretty quickly. So, I mean, you have the podcast, you can listen back to it if you missed something, okay? So don't try to stop us. Gerouge, literally red eye, title indicating a horrific aspect added to the names of certain Rada Loa when a particular Petro.
Yeah, when the Petra, when it's invoked as Petra.
When a Petro cult is invoked, basically, a violent form of their power. So, thus are produced, Agwe Gerouge or Dambala Gerouge or Erzule Gerouge or Gunderu Gerouge, and so on and so forth. And then horse. A Loa possesses a person. It is sometimes said to dance in the head of that person. But the more traditional expression is that Loa rides the person's head. The person is thus regarded to as the horse in French, cheval of the Loa. That's why they say that, you're being mounted because you are the horse, So then there's the Honfur, strictly the inner sanctuary or altar room of a site where the religion of Udon is practiced. It is, in a general sense, it is understood to mean the whole site, the inner sanctuary, the peristyle, the dwelling of the Hungan, and probably some sacred trees, khans, or other landmarks. One must judge by the context. Hungan, a fully initiated priest of voodoo, one who has received the Ason. The basis of this title is the African Nanga, a chief priest. It is prefixed with the Fon word Hun, meaning spirit. Ibo, a person from the Yoruba region who have retained in Haitian voodoo their own right drumbeat songs and loa. La Flambeau, literally the torch. This title is added to the names of certain Rada Loa when a Petro cult invokes an especially fiery form of their power. So we have for example, Dambala, La Flambeau, Ogun La Flambeau, and the Dahomen Amine Gatigo becomes Amine Gatigo La Flambeau. That's a mouthful. Mambo, the Voudon priestess who has received the same training as a Hungan. How would you say that? Hungan? Yep. And likewise has received the Ason. Peristyle, a large porch or more or less open-sided building adjacent to the altar chamber of a Hunfor. It is here that most of the public ceremonies of Voudon are held around the Poto Legba, or I am so stuck on that. Putamiton, sorry. The peristyle will have at least one, maybe 2 or 3 entrances from the exterior besides the doorway to the altar chamber. So with that said, I think we're ready to go into the cowrie.
I thought we were saying goodnight, Gracie. Yeah, now everybody on this, that have stayed tuned for the cowrie shells.
That's you.
Are going, wait, but the cowries.
We're just going to give a quickie.
There's a Santerie way of doing this, and there is a voodoo way of doing this, and we're going to do the voodoo way. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of paper and a pen so I don't get lost. Because I'm actually doing this off the top of my head, right. Because I thought that this would actually just fill dead time. I didn't realize that we were going to go way over. Well, that's a lie, because I actually asked Greg earlier if we could go way over.
Oh, no, we already established that.
We already established that. So, on a piece, okay.
You're going to be drawing a plus sign again.
That big old plus sign. Now, I hope everybody's got a piece of paper, at least the other side of their paper, or another piece of paper.
This is not going to be as involved. So.
No, it isn't. So, big old plus sign on the piece of paper. Again, this is the Legba Crossroads that's going to open it up for the divination. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if any of you guys know what cowrie shells are, but they're the actual little tiny, they're like little seashells.
Cowrie shells.
They're cowrie shells. They're little seashells. They're round on one side, they're open on the other.
They look like they have a mouth on the other
side. They kind of
look tiny teeth
on them, and they're cowrie shells, and you can look those up on the web.
And and then they come in assorted colors. Normally the creamish ones are the ones that are used, but there's purple ones and
there's blacker ones,
orangey ones.
And I'm going to go ahead and do a plug. If you go to panpipes.com, we do sell a set of cowrie shells, the whole entire set for $5 with a red bag.
The flannel red bag.
The flannel red bag.
And if you're really nice, we'll give you instructions.
Yeah, we'll send instructions with it.
Because it's actually pretty hard, as we found out.
And we never plug the store.
Oh my god, I feel kind of
funny doing it.
Whorish.
I know. How much? For tonight?
$3.
$3. So it's
and the energy you're working with here is with Eshu.
Eshu.
And there's various spellings for that. Some people spell it EXU, some people spell it ESHU, and ESU. Is there anything else?
No, that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so you got this, you've drawn the cross. Okay, now in the center, not only is that you, that is the now. In other words, that's right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what I should establish? When the shells land with the little mouths open, that's a yes.
Yeah.
When the mouths land with the little mouths down and all you see is the back of the shell,
the curved part,
the curved part, that's a no.
Right.
It means that they're not speaking to you. So now there's a couple of ways you can do this. You don't even have to have the cross on the piece of paper. You can actually just take.
That's you can do a visual of it, you know.
But you can actually take one shell and ask it a yes or no question.
Yeah.
And just throw it.
Right.
I like to actually throw 3 shells to see what the main is.
It's kind of handy to have a visual of a cross
even
if it's just like clearly in your mind. You know.
Traditionally what they would do is they'd take rice powder or talc powder
or
cascarilla.
Or
any of the white powders.
I use like rum on the board, and it kind of leaves a little discoloration temporarily on the board. Yeah.
But you can make a little cross with that. Now you take the shells. You take 18 shells into your hand. 16 shells. You take 8. There's 18.
Well,
you have 18 shells in your hands. You pick 2 out.
Yeah.
And you put them over to the side.
One for the leg bar.
Mm-hmm.
The mouth leg bar.
Yeah, one is actually for both Spirits World.
Yeah.
One's for Radha, one's for Petro, but it's also for Legba. And you put those two shells to the side.
It's like a little respect thing.
Yeah, exactly. So you shake the rest of the remaining 16 shells in your hands, and you kind of shake them up. Put it over the top for the center of that big
don't
plus.
throw them because they'll go everywhere. So just hold your hands and release them.
Maybe about 2 inches above the cross, and release them.
Just gently release them.
And they're going to fall. Now, where they fall is going to be important, because now you've got the cross. Hopefully you guys have drawn it. So the center is the now. That's the right now. Okay? Everything to the right, going right, wherever it may land on the vertical line, that's the future. Okay, so everything, whether it's above the horizontal line or below it, it's all the future. Behind it is past. Okay, I don't care if it's above the horizontal line or below the horizontal line. It's all the past. So to the left of the vertical line is the past. To the right of the vertical line is the future. Okay?
Above and below.
Above and below.
The horizontal.
Now, let's deal with above and below the horizontal line and what that means. Below the horizontal line is a negative aspect. Above it is the positive aspect. Say you took the shells and you threw them. Okay? And you had a shell that landed on the above the horizontal line to the right of the vertical. Okay? Above the horizontal and to the right. And the mouth is up.
Mm-hmm.
It means yes, in a positive way. If it fell below in the future area, but in the negative side of the future, yes, but it won't be good. Does everybody understand that? If it lands in the past, it is you had opportunities, whether they were negative or positive, you would be able to see at least the positive or negative aspect of it. So you have to, so the shell on the top, does everybody get this? I'm hoping they do. Just like we discussed in the areas in the beginning of our teachings here, where it was positive and negative, and this is actually, instead of masculine and feminine, it's past and future. Instead of Radha and Petro, it's positive and negative. Okay? So you're only going to look at the ones whose mouths come upwards. Only the ones that are yes. Really, to be honest with you, I don't even pay attention to the ones that land in the past, because the past is the past. Unless I wanted to see if I had had a chance or an opportunity in that time and I didn't take it. Okay? So I really only pay attention to the future. And I only pay attention to the shells that are mouth up. If it falls below the horizontal line, it's a negative yes. You don't want it. If it falls above the horizontal line, it's a positive yes, and you want it. The further out it goes from the center, the further out it is in the future. The further out it goes upwards from the center, that is how hard it's going to be. In other words, it can be close to the vertical line, but if it's all the way up from it, it's a harder reach to get. Does everybody understand that? It means it is a long shot, that you'll have to try harder. The further away it is, going outwards to the right, the further in the future it is. The further up it goes, the harder it is to get it. It's going to be less. Okay? Hope this makes sense to everyone. Because that is the show tonight. Mm-hmm. That's our show. I got nothing else.
You got nothing else?
I got nothing else.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm tapped out on this.
No, we've covered it as extensively as we can on air, so I think that's more than enough. And
those of you in the area,
like I said,
I have some alchemy classes coming up.
Yeah.
I have the 16-week course coming up
Right.
for $150 for 16 weeks, where you'll learn the foundations of all the philosophies.
Fabby's taken it like 20 times now.
I have the alchemy class coming again.
Not because it's,
because you can get something out of it all the time.
She says you teach it something completely new each time, but
maybe a different angle.
Yeah, different angle. And of course, there's more information, as we said earlier, on our Facebook site in the discussion area on the Veves and the Loas.
If you email us at info@occultistradio.com, we'll send you some. We'll send you some graphics for tonight's show.
Yeah, you just need to give us a little time to do it, because we have other things to do too. I
really want to thank our producers for giving us a chance. Yeah. Number one, to reach everyone. Greg and Serenity, you guys are awesome. You really are. They're a pleasure to work with. They are the nicest people in the world. They truly, truly are. I'm honored and proud to call both of them friends. As well as bosses and producers, and they give us the opportunity to stay longer with you guys and to teach more with us. It's truly a pleasure to be able to reach out to all of you. Thank you guys for sticking with us. I know it was an extra long show. I hope you guys got a lot out of this. Next week we have Tim Braun coming in.
Yeah,
he's a medium.
He'll be in store
August 11th.
10th. Oh shoot!
Is it the 10th? It's the 10th.
It's a Tuesday, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's a Tuesday.
So it would be the 10th.
Yeah.
Then August 10th.
It's going to be August 10th.
And he is awesome.
He's the real deal.
Yeah,
we got some slots open for him if you guys want to come in.
I got a reading from him, and he didn't even know me, and he was like spot on. Yeah.
He's an hour long. It's $175, but it's the best $175 that you will ever spend here at the store for a medium. I'm not saying he's the best medium out there that you can spend money on, but he actually is good for you. And he's going to actually be on radio with us next week. And we'll be talking about how to actually balance yourself and maybe go through a little psychic thing with people to try to get their awareness up.
He's really amazing, and he's worked with some amazing people, as well. So, yeah.
So, I guess
with that, we should really sign off.
I'm going to do what we always do, and that is the Nanda Devi Ritual of the Sisterhood. It's a nice little ritual piece. After the song is over, good night, guys.
Good night. Thank you.
And thank you, everyone.
For joining. Yep.